Hey, welcome everybody to howtoplaystock.com. My name is Kepley, and in today's video I wanted to cover the subject of investing with Motif. Alright, now if you haven't heard of Motif, it's a tool or a brokerage firm that you can use and set up an account, and basically it allows you to become your own hedge fund manager, so you can create your own exchange traded fund. Okay, now this video is basically just a review over Motif and how you can utilize it. I'm going to go over some of the advantages and disadvantages to Motif that I observed from setting up my own account. So when you're watching this video, I want you to pay attention to a couple things, okay? I've got them written down here. It's balance and risk. Be a good investor. You have to basically invest and wait for a longer period of time to get your returns. So as an investor, you're more long-term thinking, and you need a more long-term strategy. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind because that has a lot to do with balance and risk. Now, what do I mean by balance and risk? I'm talking about things such as risk parity. If you're not familiar with risk parity and you don't know what that entails, subscribe to my channel. I've got playlists and different videos that go over risk parity, and I break it down for you on asset allocation, how that actually works. But basically in a nutshell, what risk parity does is it allows you to balance out your portfolio and allocate it so that it can tolerate risk. So in other words, like if the markets were to drop and say take like a 40 or 50% drop because of a stock market crash, risk parity allows you to allocate your portfolio properly so you don't lose as much money over long periods of time. So I want you to keep that in mind, because when I was going over Motif and I was reviewing it, and you'll see it here in the video, at a later portion of this video here, I'm going to take us into the account that I set up, and I'm going to show you how you can create your own exchange traded funds or mutual funds. But when you're watching the rest of the video, I want you to keep in mind things such as balance and this risk parity. You need to ask yourself questions like, okay, if the stock market dropped, how would my Motif, my exchange traded fund that I created here, how would that respond to a market crash? Okay, because that was my main concern that I found with Motif. It is a great investing tool, I believe, and it is revolutionary in regards to just the overall approach to investing that it offers people, because it allows you to gain a lot more control over the investments that you're in, and you'll see that in the next part of this video when I take you into the account here, okay?
So we're here in my account on Motif, and this is a brokerage firm that basically allows you to create your own ETF or mutual fund. I haven't actually deposited any money in this yet, and so the whole basis for this video is to kind of give you some pros and cons to Motif. And like I said, I haven't deposited any money, and the reason why is because, to be quite honest with you, I don't trust this brokerage firm. It hasn't been around long enough. It's nothing even remotely close to, say, like Vanguard or Fidelity, Charles Schwab, any of those. So that's the main reason why I haven't funded this account yet. I probably will at a later date and just give it a test run, but I'm already kind of doing that, and I just wanted to show you some of the things that you can do with Motif. I do think it's revolutionary in a sense that you can create your own ETFs. I'll give you an example here. So we'll go to, let's see here, my built and custom Motifs. So I've created a couple here just as an example. We'll go to this one. It's the All-Weather Risk Parity Fund. That's the name I gave it. It's basically the all-seasons portfolio that I allocated according to Ray Dalio. So you can see here that I basically took ETFs that I'm building right now through another brokerage firm on my IRA, and I put them all in to an ETF, and I created an exchange traded fund that I could actually, if I wanted to, I could go out and sell this thing on the brokerage firm here. So that's one thing that you can do with Motif if you're looking to maybe make a little extra money on the side online, is sell an ETF. Now, this whole concept of selling your own ETF, again, this is why I'm not too encouraged, is a good word for it, I'm not too encouraged to go out here and start playing around with Motif. And the reason why is because you have people out here that are selling their own exchange traded funds, and you don't really know their background. Are they professional day traders, or are these people that just put together stuff based off of articles that they've read? And again, I mean, some of this you just don't know. I mean, you just don't know what you're getting into, and that part I don't like. Now, if you're looking to get into something, just maybe a couple, like you want to get into a couple index funds, you could do something like that. So you could get into like an S&P 500 and the Dow Jones, and you could throw them together and create your own ETF that way. You could go with something like that because it's solid. You're getting into the markets as a whole. But when you start throwing in individual companies like Microsoft, Apple, putting them all into one ETF, the problem with this is that most people don't know anything about risk and balancing a portfolio. They think they do, and that's really about it. And so what you do when you when you set up your own mutual fund, and let's say it's tied to just a few companies, your risk might be really, really high. And if the stock market takes like a 40% drop, you might lose all your money when you set up your own ETF based on just a few companies. Again, I don't like losing money, and I don't know if you guys like losing money, but I certainly don't. The other thing that I don't like about Motif is that the companies that pay out dividends, you can't reinvest it. You don't even have the option of reinvesting your dividends back into the companies so that you can compound it and take advantage of compounding. I don't know if there's a way around that with Motif. So if you're watching this video and you're more familiar with that whole process, go ahead and leave comments in the video here and let me know, how it is you go about reinvesting the dividends back into the funds, because I was looking through here and I couldn't find anything on it. I actually went out to Google and did a search on that as well, and I couldn't find anything there. So those are some of the things that I don't like about it. Again, one of the advantages, let's talk about the advantages real quick. One of the advantages to Motif that I do like is the fact that you can buy, let's say you put together a fund or a mutual fund that basically is a basket of stocks like this. One thing I like about it is it costs less. So if I were to fund my account right now, and let's say I wanted to buy this Motif that I created, the price on it is going to be much cheaper than what I would pay out if I went in and individually start buying these stocks like on my IRA account. So, for example, in my IRA account right now, I've got about half of these set up already in my portfolio, but it literally took me over $1,000 to acquire just half of the stocks. So with the Motif, it's going to give you one price that's going to be, I would imagine, much cheaper than that, and you're getting all these, you're getting a complete portfolio. So in that perspective, I do like Motif because the cost for what you're going to pay to get into some of these companies might be cheaper than what than what it would if you actually, you know, went in and bought each individual stock. You know, outside of that though, I don't really see a whole lot of advantages to this, other than it gives you control over creating your own kind of mutual fund or exchange traded fund. Again though, the problem with that is a lot of people will put something together and they'll think, oh well, you know, this is a great mutual fund because it gives me like a, you know, say like a 24% return or a 30% return, and you're able to kind of get an idea of what it would do as far as return, because when you're putting these together, it'll actually tell you kind of like what the return rate is on it and the performance. Let's see here. We'll just go back to the dashboard real quick. So in that sense, it's kind of nice because it'll show you those kind of things when you're actually building out your Motif or your mutual fund. But other than that, I mean, you really don't know what you're getting. You could go out and buy a Motif that someone else created on here, and you have no idea if what these guys set up or whoever it is that created it, you have no idea if it's going to be legit, like if it's going to last you long term. Short term, it might do really well for you. So if you're looking to maybe do a little bit of day trading on a Motif, you know, and ride the returns up and then sell it, you know, it might be good for that. I'm just afraid to try it though, because to be honest with you, I don't know. You know, this is fairly new. This is fairly new concept. So I think, for me anyways, I would have to give it more time just to see what it does. And again, like I said, I might give this a test run. You know, just one thing you have to do, you know, when you fund your account, you have to have a minimum of, I believe, $300 to even start, you know, trading. So there's a minimum amount that you have to put into the account. Again, I think that's kind of another disadvantage to this whole system. But that's all I have right now. That's my take on Motif. If you guys, you know, who are watching this have more experience with Motif or have been using it for a while, feel free to leave some comments in the you know, in the comment section of this video, and you know, let me know what your experience is so far with it. That's all I have for today, and thanks for tuning in. Remember guys, be patient, okay? In comes the outcome. I'll talk to you later.